Hello everyone, Phoenix61 here with more World of Warships Legends as usual. Today we are in the Vermont with a broadside Brisbane right off the bat here, trying to smoke and get away. We get a bunch of overpens on him off the bat here until the second south, until those rear turrets come in and almost finish him off with that Citadel hit there. He is going to sneak away and live to fight another day. Brisbane's got those long-range torpedoes, so he's probably trying to do a turnaround and send torpedoes through the zone. So we will suspect that and take a slow approach here. Yeah, this is the meta of the ship, right? Like, it's freaking huge and it's freaking slow, but it's got a massive health pool and great American AP guns, right? So we will use the strengths and avoid the weaknesses, right? Vampire in zone Charlie here. We could take a shot at him if he stayed spotted, but he's not going to. Brisbane, I was kind of hoping to be able to finish him off, but we're not going to get loaded quite quick enough here. And then I want to keep moving because, well, this Lucian just sailed through this gap here, so I'm sure he's sending torpedoes through said gap, right? We've got basically 3 destroyers. You look at the mini-map that we could potentially have to deal with here. So we'll be a little bit careful and actually decide to kind of turn away from this gap and not sail into destroyers, because that would probably be the end of us. So we'll go where we can be most valuable, see if we can get a good shot on this Montana. This game ends up being a pretty quick stomp of a game here, so I'll actually have 3 games total to go through in today's video, so stay tuned for more action. Kind of was disappointed in that salvo against that Montana, but I don't know, maybe I aimed too high. We did get a couple bounces too, so yeah, I'm going to try and stay on the move. You tend to have better games if you can keep yourself in motion, versus, you know, parking it in the back of the map, right? But sometimes it's hard to do. So I slowed down a little bit here because it looked like this Brisbane was going to peek out right here, and then it looked like he was slowing down, so I figured he might start moving forward, so we're going to just try and predict that, and took that salvo a little bit in front, and we were right, and it took 1 bullet to finish him off. It didn't need all 12 of them, but we shot all 12, right? So, and then that vampire is low on health. I was planning to start backing up, but then I'm looking at the mini map and I'm like, you know what? If we move forward, we might be in a better position for crossfire against those 2 enemy battleships over on the Charlie Cap, above the Charlie Cap. So we'll actually move up and move through here. My teammates did a great job of getting rid of destroyers. That's always the huge point. You know, that always gives you a huge advantage early on, right? If you can get rid of some of those destroyers early on, that usually gives your team a huge advantage, and you get that game momentum going where you're just unstoppable, right? So 4 ships down on the enemy team, 1 thanks to us. We'll take our slow-moving self and try and get into a position where we can actually shoot at something. And yep, we've got a very healthy Colombo and a not-so-healthy Montana. We've actually got a shot on the Montana, so we'll see if we can snap the kill there before somebody else does. It's one of those like situations where your team's got that momentum for the game, and then you end up, you know, struggling just to get in position and racing for those last shots on those kills, right? And I was kind of hoping the Colombo would kind of turn this, you know, in the direction of our favor, right? Turn out to the north, but I think he ends up kind of trying to bow tank in with the battleship and the 3 destroyers and a cruiser over there on our team now that he's up against. So I didn't have high hopes for being able to get shots off at him, but he's the only thing really that might have a chance, right? So the little mountain symbol goes away as we were aiming there, so I'm assuming those shots will make it over the ridge. We'll have to see. Yep, they do. See if we get any hits. A couple of bounces. And Alaska's not long for this world. There's 1 more destroyer off on this flank somewhere that we've meandered over to. And then I think this Yamato, yeah, this Yamato on their team has quite a bit of health left as well. But like I said, when the ship numbers start dwindling, everyone starts shooting at the same ship. So Yamato's already getting picked on. Alaska is gone. Schlieffen got him. Don't really need the will to rebuild, but whatever. And we're going to have a nice broadside shot on the Yamato here. And like I said, everyone was shooting him, so I almost didn't get there in time. But we will be able to finish him off as well for 3 kills, and that puts us over the top with the points situation, so that's going to win us the game. Yeah, I think the enemy team lost all of their points, right? So they didn't have any zones cap and lost too many ships, right? So 50,000 silver, a mighty haul for legendary tier at least, right? So game 2 will have a little bit more entertainment here. We are moving out the flank. We're going to try and support these guys. Awami. Looks like we're going to hit the island here. Got a destroyer, a vampire we could potentially help out with here, but I'm going to try and avoid the torpedoes first. We'll prioritize that. So we'll turn in a little bit here until we know we're safe from these. And we'll keep moving out. And yep, Awami angled for us, so might not get, or didn't, angled in his favor, right? So we didn't get much out of him. 1 bounce, so that was a good move on his part. I should have anticipated that and aimed a little bit higher and further out, but whatever. We'll keep pushing up, right? We've got 2 destroyers to their 1 over here, right? So I'm not too worried about the destroyer. So we'll be in position to help support our teammates if that destroyer does get spotted. But we've got a nice juicy broadside Yamato. Well, it's not quite broadside. If you look at the mini map, right, he is angled a little bit. But we get a decent chunk out of him there. 25,000 we're up to. And then, yeah, we're kind of poorly angled against him as well, so I was a little nervous here. So we are trying to slow down and turn out to try and dodge anything that he's sending this way. We have to keep in mind that Iwami is out there also. We'll try another shot at the Yamato, though. He stays in view here. Looks like he's going to move backwards a little bit, so we'll fire behind him a little bit. And then, yep, that Iwami's out there too, so just keeping an eye on him, seeing if he's going to look at us and fire this way. Get another almost 40,000 damage there. And then here's the destroyer. We don't have guns loaded, but I will shoot said destroyer if he's still alive by the time we are loaded. Would be a nice little kill steal, but yes, our Shimikaze in our division gets him. Awami's giving us a little bit better angle here. Try and take the shot there. Plunk. Another Citadel on him. 96,000 damage, quite early in the game here. We'll keep moving around. So we'll start moving forward. We're going to have to get ourselves back into some sort of position to be able to fire at something, whether it's move around towards the Yamato, who may in fact still be backing up, or I think this game we might end up having, I think somebody might come through there's 2 battleships left, right? 3 battleships beyond this Yamato. Get the shot off on him. I think someone ends up coming through the middle that we have to deal with here. The surprise attack. So yeah, this is going to be the disadvantage of this ship, right? This biggest one is it's slow and it's a big, easy target, right? So we'll keep moving around. Got 2 destroyers out there to spot that Yamato for us. And we'll turn into him so he doesn't have a good angle on us, if he's even looking this way. We'll wait for him. Looks like he's turning for us. We'll wait a few seconds here. Hopefully by the time the bullets get there, he is nice and broadside. Plunk, and down goes Yamato. Puts us up to 134,000 damage. When opportunity presents itself, you got to take it with the ship, right? Yeah, it's just actually just somewhat recently completed the Vermont Bureau project, so I haven't had too long with the ship yet. Kind of only played a handful of games, so these are probably the three better ones for amongst the ones that I have played, right? Yep, so we can see an airplane that was, on the mini-map that got spotted for just a second right in the middle, so I kind of made the assumption someone's coming up the middle, and sure enough, there is a Vermont coming up the middle. So we will push up to defend against him. This is still a pretty competitive game at the moment, right? We're even on ships. We do have our two destroyers in the zone. So basically what we can do here is if they can succeed and manage to keep that zone contested, we can get far enough up to get some defends, right? Reset the cap on our base, and then we should be golden for the win there. We just need to get there, right? We get spotted here, so there must be a destroyer in the zone as well. And it's up. We've got, what, 3 battleships on our team, right, heading for the zone. This Giuseppe Verde. Hopefully he's got radar and can actually do something nice. And broadside Vermont. Trying to move just enough to get those rear turrets off on him without giving up too much angle. So we'll start turning back into him as he fires. But yeah, we get nice chunky damage against him. And then the Giuseppe Verde is going to have a decent shot as well. Uses his radar to pick up the destroyer, and our other battleship does the right thing and shoots at the destroyer. I'm kind of like debating who I should shoot at here myself. If he's going to stay spotted, take the shot at the Hayate to try and get another reset on him. But we do have our Giuseppe Verde, right, our battleship in the zone now, so they're not getting any more capture. I mean, we do get an overpen on him, so that's nice. Any damage done to a destroyer is good damage, right? We'll aim high against the Vermont since he's angled, and we'll continue to push up on him. I'm also just keeping an eye, right? We can be aggressive here because I'm keeping an eye on our teammates down at the enemy base. They're going to have that captured. So, right, we'll push in as much and as fast as we can. Try and get as much damage out of this game as we can. And out of this Vermont. Kind of in a 3-on-1 situation here with us, the 3 battleships on our team. Do see a Temeraire show up over here on the outside flank, so may be able to get some hits on him. Does look like, if I'm looking at the enemy base, it looks like one of their other destroyers got in there and was able to wreak some havoc, so they reset the cap there, but the Minotaur for the win there gets the enemy destroyer. So now we've got destroyer on our end and the Temeraire battleship, and then their cruiser is down by their base. 196,000 damage now, plus whatever we get out of this salvo here. This battleship might not last very long either. Good chunk there, puts us up to 212. So double what our own health pool is, which is always kind of cool. And then, yeah, I'm doing some maneuvering here just in case this Hayate is out here sending torpedoes in our direction. So instead of sailing in the straight line, continuing to move out, which would have potentially given us a shot at the battleship here, but we're going to get the zone cap over at their base, and that's going to be game for this one. And then I'll have one more to play around with here. Giuseppe Verde finishes him off and gets a devastating strike anyway. Take a quick peek at the leaderboard and we'll go into game 3, and then I'll go through the commander build as well. I am using Azure Lane, New Jersey, right? So it's kind of a damage build. 2400 XP gets us at the top of the board. walked away with 72,000 in silver. Always nice to make a profit on legendary tier. So game 3, we've got a cruiser out in a smoke screen there. I'm not quite sure who's spotting us, but there must be a destroyer even closer. We'll take the blind shot at the cruiser since we've got a good read on where his bullets are coming from. So we'll shoot into the smoke screen and see what we get out of this. And then just keeping an eye on where, yep, so he's moving a little bit, so we'll move our shot with him for those rear turrets, see if we can get anything there. Don't really have anything else to shoot at, so we'll take the blind shots, right? See what we can get, but we get a whole lot of nothing. So this is kind of a good, like, safe position as a battleship to start off in this game, right? You've got a little bit of cover here, and sometimes you've got some allies that can spot some ships, and you can kind of fire through this crack here at some unsuspecting battleships or cruisers potentially, right? So. But Lucian does get himself spotted here, and we've actually got a good angle on him. So we get 3 penetrations, right, because he's kind of pointed towards us. So we get a really great shot. That's a really great damage against him for this. So that gives our allied destroyer and battleship up there a heads up on him, right, or a head start on getting rid of him, right? So that's going to be huge for us. He is trying to smoke and get away from everybody. I think our battleship might actually have... Somebody must have sonar keeping him spotted, right? And then we do take another shot there, but most of it hits the land. So I was trying to back up and get a little bit better angle so we could actually arch over. And I should have just held my shot, right? Because now we probably could have actually hit him. Yeah. But yeah, it must be battleship. Battleship must have sonar on our teams, keeping him spotted. Or he's just close enough now at this point. See if we can help with the kill or not. Ooh, he does get torpedoes off on the Centurion. Okay. It's still spotted though. There he goes. Alright, we'll start moving up. There's the Dalian that was in the smoke screen before. Must have been him, right? We'll take the shot there. We know he's got torpedoes and kind of fire spammy bullets. Disappointing 1 overpen against him. We'll keep moving up. Got 3 cruisers over there on this flank. So I kind of figured I could move up kind of into towards the middle of the map here. You do have to be careful with that, and I'm going to pay for it here in this game. But yeah, I was like, kind of like, if they keep moving around that outside, that right side flank on the, looking at the mini-map, right? If they kept moving around that direction, right, I'd have nice broadside shots on them as they came through between these mountains here. So that was kind of my thought process for moving up and moving into this area. But then we of course are a big, slow-moving battleship, so we do end up making ourselves a target for a while here. Colombo out in the distance. I'm going to slow down and see if we can actually, if he keeps moving up, we might be able to get a good shot on him. And then it's like, okay, we see the cruiser here. We've got choices basically at this point, and I think I make some crazy choices coming up here. I kind of thought that these 3 cruisers over here, I kind of thought they would keep moving around the flank, just because there's only the 1 cruiser and destroyer out there on our team. But now we're in a situation where there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be able to shoot us if we get spotted, so. Burgoyne looks like he's giving us a little bit of an angle, and we can actually shoot over these mountains here, this island here, so we'll take this shot, and then, yep, that does get us picked up by something. We'll get those rear turrets going. And then, yeah, now Colombo decides to start moving up. So if he moves in, he's going to keep us spotted, and he actually turns and angles into us as well. cruiser gonna drop smoke? Cruiser's gonna drop smoke. We're still like, it's kind of nice, right? He's more so doing that for himself because, well, our smoke firing penalty is, you know, large enough that we're gonna stay spotted here, right? Regardless of the smoke screen. So we'll take the shots at the Columbo. It looked like he was starting to turn away, so I aimed a little bit higher, and that does work out for us there with 8 penetrations there, and we get the kill. 2 fires on us right now, and I'm a little bit worried about that Dalian that's out there. So I kind of was hesitant to use the damage con, right? So we'll start moving forward and hold off on the damage con. And we'll use a heal to help mitigate some of that fire damage. And then we do have the base getting capped, which is of concern as well. So yeah, we've got ourselves in a little bit of a pickle, and multiple ships from pretty much the entire map can shoot us, and we're getting bombed by by a Dutch cruiser as well. And then, yep, sure enough, here's the torpedoes. I should have just kept moving, I guess, but I was trying to avoid airstrikes as well. But we made the right call, use the damage con on the Flood. We'll continue to push up. We do have will to rebuild from this cruiser, but we're going to end up moving away from him, and I'm thinking he's going to move away as well. We need somebody to go after our base. I am probably not the best candidate for that, just given how slow we are. So I'll continue to move up and kind of cause some havoc. At this point, I was kind of like, this game might not be winnable here, but we shall see. The tables will turn at some point here. So keeping an eye out for whatever cruiser we might be able to spot around this corner. I'm kind of hoping we catch somebody off guard. Then we've got the Johan de Witt that was giving us the airstrikes. We'll take advantage of the fact that we weren't spotted for a little bit here, and then I'm going to see if we can move up and get a shot on this Burgoon. We'll trigger another heal. Help with the fire damage. And then I'm giving up some angle here, but I'm trying to get around the corner enough just so that we can shoot and hopefully finish him. I think those front turrets might be able to get the job done, but yeah, I'm trying to turn away as much as we can here. And yeah, we take a nasty hit from him, and then also get airstruck again from Johan de Witt. And then trying to head back in towards this smoke screen where our destroyer is, and sure enough, he is hanging out there because he wants to stay in his smoke to remain undetected. So since he's holding still, we'll head towards him to get will to rebuild, so we get a little bit of healing here now. And then we'll just wait for, I'm going to keep the guns on that side of the ship because I'm waiting for this cruiser to show up broadside. We'll take the shot at him. That doesn't get any better than that, so we'll get the devastating strike on him. Goodbye, thanks for playing. And now the tables have turned, and we've got will to rebuild, plus another heal here if we need it. We'll start heading back towards their base to put the pressure on, because that's what this destroyer is going to do. I'm going to try and stay as close to our allied destroyer as long as possible to get as much heal out of this as I can. Yep, we know there's a cruiser in the zone here. We know Dalian's got torpedoes, right? So we'll just keep moving and ducking and weaving as best we can. We're going to take that shot as he disappears into his smoke. We've got will to rebuild right now, so the fire isn't really that painful, right? It's kind of holding even there, right? The fire damage and will to rebuild are kind of balancing each other out. So I'll hold off on the damage con in case we have to deal with torpedoes again here. Didn't get as much out of the salvo into the smoke screen as I would have liked. And then he's going to keep firing at us while we're spotted here, but finally go undetected. And we get another fire there, so I'm going to use the damage con. And we're going to point towards him, so we're not spotted anymore, right? So I'm going to make the assumption that he probably sent torpedoes, now off to our left side now at this point, because that's the direction we were heading when we were spotted by him before. So hopefully we can dodge these torpedoes. This Des Moines keeps coming around. We'd have a good shot at him. But we really kind of need to deal with the Dalian since he's contesting the zone. So we'll try and help out our destroyer. firing the guns is, of course, going to get us spotted through the smoke. We do get a devastating strike on him there. And then I couldn't believe that this is where he sent these torpedoes. We get really lucky there, right? You can take them, right? You can take some torpedoes in the ship. But we just get lucky there with without getting a flood, so that saved us there. Here comes some more. See if we can get a shot on either of these other cruisers coming through here. Napoli's got a little bit better angle for us, so I took the shot at him, even though the Des Moines was closer. And we'll shoot towards the Des Moines now to try and help out our cruiser. Would have been cool to be able to get like 2 kills in a row there, right? But yeah, we do get a good chunk out of the Des Moines. And then our Minotaur finishes him off. So it's just the Napoli left versus us capping the base here. And then, yep, we made it close enough to our destroyer to get will to rebuild too, which of course we don't need anymore at this point, but puts us at 161,000 damage as my teammates finish off the last cruiser. We'll take a peek at the leaderboard, and then I'll go really quick into the commander build. If you guys have been watching my channel, right, like, yeah, you know what it is, right? But 2,900 XP puts us at the top of the board for that one. And then I was kind of thinking, like, of playing around with the, yeah, we'll go through the mods here too, but main battery, propulsion mod, concealment, and then the aiming system, right, the artillery plotting room that's unique to the American battleships. But yes, Ashley, New Jersey is kind of the go-to here, right? If you don't have her, I would just build into, like, range, accuracy, and AP shell damage. That's kind of where the American battleships shine. But yeah, so I am using a little bit of an accuracy build there with Cunningham to try and get some better hits, you know, more bullets on target. I don't know if it's the way to go. And I was kind of thinking, like, just specifically for Vermont as an inspiration, like, who might be better, right? Like, I know there's one commander out there that gives you, like, % health increase as well as some more speed. So I was kind of looking for that guy, and I always forget who it is. Yeah, this one here. Part of something bigger, right? More max HP, right? Since it's more HP, a % more, right? I'm thinking, okay, the Vermont already has over 100,000, you know, health pool, right? So I was like, I wonder how much more we could get by putting him on there. So I'll take a look. So we're at 102,800 there, right? And then yeah, max speed 22.8. So I was like, all right, what if when we, you know, boost him to make him active, what do we get up to? And we'll take a quick peek. And I get 106.90 for health, and then we get 23.1. So I ended up really not liking that, and I ended up switching it back. But that is going to be our video for the day, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. Make sure you are following the channel as well, and we will see you guys tomorrow.